lever right here, and what this does is it opens the brake, so the tire has clearance to drop out of the frame. The second thing you want to do is make sure that the bike is shifted down into the smallest cog here. So that'll be your right shifter. And that just gives the derailleur the most amount of clearance for the cassette, which is your cog set here, to drop out of the frame. So all you're going to do is you're going to open the quick release lever, and then your rear wheel is just going to drop straight out.
Wow, that's way better than every time I do it. Does it matter what the big ring's in?
No, not at all. So it's really just important that it's in the smallest cog in the back. And then obviously you already have a flat, so you're not going to pull out the air out of the tire. So when you look at the tire, you see you've got your tire bead, and that's this bulged up part of the tire down at the bottom here, and that's what hooks on the inside of the rim. So these rims they're not just U-shaped; they also have a hook on the inside, and that's what holds the tire against the rim with the air pressure. So if you're not carrying a tire lever, at least one, you probably should, because you're not going to get very far without one. And what you want to do is you want to pull the tire back just like this. You can see you've got one side of the tire, the bead, I was just talking about, sticking up there. You just want to hook the tire lever underneath the bead. And then with one hand on the tire up here and the other on the lever, you're just going to hold the lever into the tire, push it around just like that. So what you can do is you can just pull the tire back. You see the tube sitting there. You can yank it out. It's good to carry an extra tube. If you don't want to carry a tube, you can carry a patch kit. So once you get your tube out, you can just set that anywhere. I like to leave the tire on the rim. It doesn't need to come all the way off. And then just take it with your fingers, 2 fingers on the inside of the tire, and just run your hand through the inside to make sure there's no thorns still stuck in the tire. So if you still have a thorn in the tire, you put a new tube in, punctures that tube, you're back to square. The other thing you want to look at is, I'll put the tire off the rim just to show you, but if you want to feel the inside of the rim there, so I was talking about the hook. The other thing you want to look at is the rim strip, and that's this red tape in here that says Bontrager. What that does is it covers up the spoke holes, which are very sharp. And if that tape is misaligned, like it's twisted or it's exposing any of those spoke holes, what it's going to do is as soon as you pump that tire up to 110, 120 pounds of pressure, it's going to puncture the tube almost instantly. And then give it another flat once again. So once you've checked that stuff, that's pretty quick. Like I said, just run your fingers through the tube. If you don't find anything, you're probably okay. I forgot to grab a pump. Let me grab a pump real quick. So you've got your new tube. Like I said, it's good to carry a tube and not just a patch kit. A tube is much quicker to replace, especially if you're in a ride or something like that. Take it out of the box, obviously, or the rubber band, anything. And with your pump, you probably have a mini pump if you're on a ride. If you're at home, it's nice to have a pump. Before you install the tube back in the tire, you're going to put a little bit of air in it, just so it holds its shape, just like that. And what this does is this way, when you put it in the tire, is it doesn't get twisted, it doesn't get folded over. Because if it gets twisted and you put it in, air it out, that twist is going to catch all that pressure and it's just going to burst. So find your valve hole. And you want to do it from the open side of the tire, not the back side here where it's still on the rim. And just pull the tire back, slide that in. And then the tube is still pretty soft, so you can just kind of tuck it up into the tire all the way around. Once you've got it up inside there, we'll kind of stick out a little bit. But you want to start at the valve, and you just want to tuck the bead of the tire back inside the rim. And you just want to hold it in one place with one hand, just go around with the other, and just kind of work it in to the rim. So you'll get to the end here, and this tire is pretty soft, so I can pop it in with my fingers just like that. Some of them are pretty tight. So if you do come to a tire that's real tight, is you'll get to about here, and you just won't be able to get it with your fingers. So what you want to do is you want to take your tire lever and reverse from the way you used it to pull the tire out. You're going to flip it over, and you're going to put the tire lever on the inside of the rim. It's hard to see there. This can be tricky because you don't want to pinch the tube in between the tire and the lever. And if it didn't, you've probably done that before.
Three tubes.
Yeah, it can be extremely frustrating. So, and then you want to use the tire lever. Oops, hold on to it. You want to use the tire lever to pull the tire bead into the rim, just like that. And it can be pretty tight, like I said, this tire fits pretty loosely on the rim. But some of them are extremely tight. And I've seen people break tire levers even. But just kind of work with it, and it'll definitely go. If it came off the rim, it'll go back on. And then once you have the tire on, before you put air in it, double check, make sure that it is completely on both sides. Yeah.
With the CO2 cartridges, how do you do it? Can you just put a little bit of air in, or does that like throw all? I have one, I just haven't used it.
Can you blow in it?
You can blow in it. That's
okay.
the best way to do it. Is just open the valve, and usually you can get enough air pressure, just like.
Oh, okay. Very clever.
So when you're reinflating your tire, you know, in a race or in a ride, it's harder to pay attention to this because you just want to get back on the road fast. But you want to get it up to maybe about half the pressure. My phone is leaking. And then just check the bead. So when you're checking the bead, you can see that the bead line is this little line that sticks up right by the little label there. You want that line to be an even distance between the rim and the tire the whole way around. You guys see that? The bead line, which is right. So that's that little line sticking up right a little around there. And you want to make sure that that's showing. It's okay for it to be showing. You want to make sure that the actual bead of the tire isn't sticking up over the rim. So if you can see the edge of that tire,
Yeah.
that's bad. Then you just need to let the air out and stick it back in. And typically, they inflate just fine the first time. It's not usually a problem, but it is something to keep in mind. So you don't have a blowout.
All right.
But then, with a hand pump, if you have one of those or a CO2, you want to get the tire as hard as you can. Obviously, they don't have a gauge on them, but you don't want to be able to compress the tire too much. Really, just as much pressure as you can get in it. You're not going to be able to really feel a huge difference with your fingers at.
Can you overdo it? Like with that CO2, it's kind of
With
hard.
CO2, you can't.
You can't?
Typically, they won't go over about 110, 120 pounds of pressure.
Okay. That's what I worry
And
about.
with a mini pump, you can.
But it's also very.
But it's
That's a long race.
you'll feel it right in there. You won't want to even ride your bike when you're done. So, with a floor pump, it's nice if you're changing a tube at home. Like you said, you're going to fly at the end of a ride. It's nice to have a big pump at home because it's just convenient. But obviously, you can feel in there that when it's up at 100 times the pressure, it's just hard. You can't really tell the difference between 110 and 100 pounds. So, putting your wheel back in the bike, it's pretty straightforward. Now, if you have a stand like this, it's really easy. You're just going to loop, see the bottom part of the chain hanging down here. You'll loop that underneath the cassette. See there. And then you're going to pull the cassette back. Make sure the wheel goes straight into the dropouts. Straight into the dropouts. And as long as you didn't mess with your skewer while you had the wheel off, it should still be set to the correct tension and you can just close it. And it should be, when you close your skewer, you want it to be about 90 degrees away from the wheel. You want to have full pressure all the way closed. That's just so you don't under tighten or over tighten the skewer. Another good way to do it is if you're on the road, chances are you're gonna have your bike like this.
That would be easier, huh?
So this is the
I've
easiest
done
way,
it that
to, easiest
way.
way to change the tire on the side of the road. Flip it over just like that. Take your computer off first, or you will break it off when you do this. If you have a computer, I've learned that.
Got the two.
So open your skewer. And you just pull straight up on it. And just untug it from the chain. And then going back in, you just want to take the loosest part of the chain. You know, the chain that comes out of the bottom part of the derailleur here. Just set it over the cassette, just like that. Push the derailleur back. It'll drop straight in. So go ahead and close your skewer. And the nice thing about having it upside down like this is gravity will pull it into the dropout straight. Sometimes I've seen people, they'll get the wheel end a little bit crooked, and they tighten it down, and they're like, why is my brake dragging? You know, because it's not what's called square in the dropouts. So you just want to make sure that it's moving freely. You can close your skewer. You can flip this guy back over. Very important, close your brake. Because when you open it like this, it will pull to the grip. And, you know, if you don't catch that, you're going down a big, long hill. You grab that, nothing happens.
It hurts.
Don't blame me. So very important. Just flip that lever closed, and that'll tighten up your brake. Same thing up front. Brake calipers are the same. So you have your release lever here. Now on a front fork, when you open your skewer, is what we like to call lawyer tabs on the front of the fork. So the wheel won't drop out just with the open skewer. There's a lot of lawsuits in the 80s. So here you're going to want to loosen the skewer. So you can just hold the lever side with your hand and just unthread right there. And it'll drop straight out. Skewer side is always the left side, and they should line up, so the rear side is going to be the same on both. And that's really the only problem on mountain bikes if you have directional tires or disc brakes or anything like that. But then drop it back in, and then same thing up here. You want to make sure you tighten the skewer down correctly, or it's not going to do you any good. And then again, close your brakes. So, have any questions on that stuff?